The Domix45A is composed of the following parts: two groups of chromium-plated connection fittings, each of them composed of a ball gate valve, a red one at the left-hand side for warm water and a black one at the right-hand side for cold water, a double stainless steel mesh filters and a no-return valve. The machine container is made of stainless steel or plastic, which consists of a box and a cover. On the cover there is a membrane keyboard with 3 digital displays. The one at the top shows the quantity of water to be discharged. The one in the middle shows the temperature at the internal probe, and the one at the bottom shows the temperature at the external probe. Also to be found on the cover is the group of LEDs showing the machine's status, like manual function, operation with the programs, the discharge to the bypass and the delivery to the mixer. Finally, there is to be found the group of keys and the temperature regulating knob with a graduated scale. On the outside of the box there is the bypass outlet, the delivery outlet, the power plug and the pump command plug. Both of these have a protection fuse situated inside the adjacent lid with extractable slide. On the left side there is the external probe with a spiral 5mm cable. Installation of the machine. Attach the machine to the wall using the 4 hangers positioned on the bottom of the box. Connect the water pipes, making sure the entrance of the colder water is always on the right, whilst that of the warmer water is always on the left. Join the discharge pipes of the bypass and the delivery outlets and tighten. By means of the power socket provided, connect the electrical supply to the power plug on the right and the remote pump command to the relevant plug on the left, as indicated on the labels positioned under the cover. Manual operation. If the manual pilot LED lights up when the machine is turned on, this means that the manual operation is taking place. If instead the program pilot LED lights up, that means the operation with programs is taking place. To pass to manual function, press P00. During the manual operation, by pressing the quantity temperature key, the decimal point of the upper display begins flashing and the desired quantity can be programmed. Pressing again the quantity temperature key, the decimal point of the central display begins flashing and the desired temperature can be programmed. After some seconds, the writing P00 disappears on the lower display and the temperature of the external probe reappears. Meanwhile, the programmed temperature remains visible in the central display. At this point, the start can be given for the water delivery. To set the desired temperature, simply regulate the knob, referring to the graduated scale, and control the actual value on the central display. On the Domix45A, if the bypass has been set in time mode, once the set time has elapsed, the bypass closes and the delivery begins. If the bypass has been set in temperature mode, once the temperature program has been reached, the bypass closes and the delivery begins. On the Domix45, the temperature search is carried out by controlling the bypass manually before the delivery. The temperature programmed on the display is only a help for the operator and is not indispensable. During the delivery, the run indicator lights up. If for some reason, with the bypass set in temperature mode, the temperature then goes out of the range programmed in the installer parameters, the delivery stops and the bypass indicator switches on until the temperature returns again within the allowed range. Eventually, adjust the temperature with the knob. At any moment, the delivery can be interrupted by pushing stop, and the remaining quantity appears on the upper display. Operation with recipes. To insert a recipe and to operate the machine in mode with programs, press key P. At this point, the lower display begins flashing, and with the keyboard, a program or recipe number from 1 to 80 can be set. By pressing the quantity temperature key, the decimal point of the upper display begins flashing, and the desired quantity can be programmed. Pressing again the quantity temperature key, the decimal point of the central display begins flashing, and the desired temperature can be set. At this point, the recipe is memorized, and the start can be given to start the delivery. If instead no key is pressed, after some seconds, the writing with the number of the program disappears from the lower display, and the temperature of the external probe reappears. When the machine is still, the desired recipe can be recalled by pressing P and the relevant number associated. Operation of free recipe. By pressing P99, one enters into the free recipe program. The writing free appears on the upper display. The desired temperature can be set on the central display. At this point, by pressing start, the machine begins to deliver at the programmed temperature, without, however, controlling the dosage. To stop the delivery, press stop of the installer parameters. To enter into the installer parameters, push simultaneously the keys 1 and 9 for at least 10 seconds. Tast ins. The first display serves to check the correct function of the keyboard. By pressing the various keys, one can check that the keys are working, and on the central display will appear the relevant symbol. By pressing P twice, one passes on to the following display parameter. From this point on, to pass to the following display, it is sufficient to press the key P just once. To carry out the choice of the various options, use keys 1, 2 and 3. LBON degrees F. This display is for the choice of the desired measuring units. By pressing 1, the machine operates in litres and centigrades. By pressing 2, the machine operates in pounds and Fahrenheit. By pressing 3, the machine operates in pounds, ounces and Fahrenheit. Type BYP. This display is for the choice of the control on the bypass, by temperature or by time. By pressing 1, one chooses the control by temperature. By pressing 2, one chooses the control by time. BYP-TOL. This display appears if in the previous option the temperature control for the bypass has been chosen. The tolerance of the intervention of the bypass is given in degrees. The set degrees will be referred to the unit of measure selected before. If instead of temperature, time control is chosen, the display will be BYP SEC and the length of time is shown in seconds. Total beep. Counter of used water expressed in cubic meters. If yes is chosen in this display, the counter will keep count also of the water discharged to the bypass. If instead no is chosen, it will keep count only of the water discharged to the mixer. ELV run. In this display, it is possible to check independently the main electrovalve and the bypass electrovalve with keys 1 and 2. Choose the desired valve and by pressing start it opens. Pushing stop it closes. (0000) det. On this display, it is possible to carry out the flow delivery test. By pushing start on the upper display, appears the instantaneous flow value, expressed in litres per minute. This value depends from the pressures at the machine inlets and must be at least 18, with pipe pressures of 1.5 bar. If the flow is lower, there could be some obstructions. For example, dirt in the filters. On the lower display, the temperature of the discharge can be seen. 0100 East, 025 Cis. The two following displays are useful in the case that an electronic adjustment of the litre counter is requested, a procedure that we'll see now. If there is an error in the dosing, and if it has been established that this is not due to the electrovalves, and it isn't higher than 10%, such an error can be corrected by electronic means. The correction is carried out by entering into the installer parameters as previously described until the display shown here is reached. By pushing start, the machine discharges 1 litre. Once the dosing is completed, the sign 0.00 flashes on the central display. Weigh with a high precision, high resolution scale the actual discharged quantity and input this value into the machine. The measuring unit is always litres with tenths and hundredths, and the value must be included in a range from 0.50 to 1.50. Push P to memorize and to pass to the following display. Pressing start, the machine discharges the programmed litres, which are preset at 25, but the quantity can also be changed. Once the dosing is completed, the sign 00.0 flashes on the central display. Weigh with a scale the actual discharged quantity and input this value into the machine. The measure is always in litres, and the value cannot be shifted by more than 10% of the set quantity.